How many times should you take the SATs or the ACTs? Now, the answer to this question is a little bit more nuanced, so let's take some time to explore this. The SAT is an exam that is very popular among high school students. In fact, most of the students in the country end up taking the SAT. Now, the ACT is another exam that students typically in the Midwest, like in Chicago, take. Now, there are pros and cons when it comes to taking the SAT or the ACT. Currently, the SAT is completely digital, which means if you take the SAT, you have to take the online version. Whereas the ACT, as of the moment of this video, you can still take the written paper test. The ACT is also making the science section optional, which means you don't really have to take the science section if you don't want to. Now, as far as how many times you should take the SAT, I generally recommend taking the exam no more than 2 or 3 times at the max. The Common App does ask how many times you have taken this exam, and the more times you take this exam, the diminishing marginal utility that you get when it comes to how admissions officers view your score for this exam. In addition, the SAT does take into account your highest scores. Okay, so in other words, when college admissions officers view your scores, you get to report your highest scores for each section, right? The math, reading, and writing. However, they do see how many times you have taken the exam, so it's not always the best. And then afterward, after you submit your application and after you're admitted to the school, you do have to send in your official transcript from the College Board to these admissions officers. So you can't really hide the fact that you only took the exam once or twice, because you do have to submit the transcript, which shows how many times you've taken the exam. ACT, on the other hand, is completely different. Okay, the ACT, there is a real advantage to taking the ACT, especially if you're a student who gets nervous before an exam, primarily because you could take the ACT as many times as you like, and you could delete the previous scores. So for example, let's assume you took the ACT 20 times. You could actually delete the previous 19 scores. And not too many people know about this trick. So by doing so, that means you really could just report that you've taken the exam once, because it's nowhere in your record that you took the exam 20 times. So there really is an advantage to taking the ACT. Both exams are pretty similar. I'd say they're pretty much equivalent in terms of the level of difficulty. So if you're a student who gets nervous before an exam, or you're just not that great at taking a digital exam, I would definitely go for the ACT. Again, the scores that we're looking for on the SAT is a 1550 or higher, or a 35 or higher on the ACT. If you like what we talked about today, subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a like. We'll be sharing more tips and advice on the college admissions process.